Welcome to Victoriam Business News. 10 days before Christmas. It's a great and exciting day to unveil another successful company on our list. Personally, I love Christmas movies and funny TV shows during this holiday season, so we will be talking about the company behind them. One particularly successful giant that we will be unveiling today is known worldwide for its global cable and broadcasting networks and properties that are spread across the entertainment industry. Ever heard of 21st Century Fox? Well, 21st Century Fox has divisions including 20th Century Fox Film, 20th Century Fox Television, Fox Network Group, and Fox Entertainment Group. Their properties here in the United States include Fox Studios, Fox Movies, Fox TV shows, Fox Sports, FX Networks, and National Geographic. This giant has more than 1.8 billion subscribers every day. This empire is run by the Murdoch family, with Rupert Murdoch as the former chairman and CEO. Now his son James Murdoch takes over along with his siblings in the executive roles. The better question to be asked now is, how did this company maintain to be at the top of the competition? Is it the management or is it the people? Here with us today is Angelica, who will help us understand this idea.
Thank you, Marian. Dr. Teresa Amabile, a Baker Foundation professor and director of research at Harvard Business School, had this theory called competential theory of creativity. Her 35-year research program delves into the lives of employees inside organizations and how these influence them and their performance. The result is about creativity and innovation and the role of intrinsic motivation. The theory suggests that creativity is most likely to occur when people's skills overlap with their strongest intrinsic interests, their deepest passions, and that creativity will be higher the level of each of the three components. Looking to the diagram here shows how the work environment also highly influences the intrinsic motivation of an individual and fosters creativity. Overall, the practices of the management, the organizational motivation, and the resources of the organization greatly influence the intrinsic motivation of the employees working in the company, thus powerfully impacting creativity. Intrinsic motivation are strong, deep interest and involvement in the work, the sense of being challenged, enjoyment, and curiosity. All these things have huge contributions to creativity, which in the case of 21st Century Fox is an important aspect in staying on top of the competition.
Thank you, Angelica. 21st Century Fox provides its employees with many resources to use in order to not only be successful, but encourage their inner creativity. A $2 million budget is given to fund those ideas and projects that pass the requirements needed and are deemed to be successful by executives.
This is Veronica reporting live from the University of San Diego.
What I've gathered from an interview with Joe Burke is that 21st Century Fox encourages its employees to come up with new ideas and present them to supervisors and executives who will give the final go signal. Joe basically said that just because you get a no from one executive doesn't mean that your idea will be thrown away. You would just need to develop the idea further and present the idea to another executive until you receive the most wanted yes.
A week later, they either get the approval or they get the disapproval from the executives who do meet and discuss those ideas and projects presented before them. The company also uses different forms of communication to collaborate well with one another within the company. Office 365, Zoom, and Slack are used on a daily basis to communicate and collaborate with employees from all across the world, whether it is globally on a national aspect or whether it is through offices that are right next door or down the hall from one another. The idea of straying away from individualism and going more towards a face-to-face communication era is mainly due in part of management encouraging more creativity and collaboration amongst its peers, as well as moving forward to a different form of running a company. To create this more collaborative environment, 21st Century Fox has geared towards more bullpen-styled offices, which are more open-typed seatings that encourage employees to be more collaborative with one another. Within 21st Century Fox, there are several television and film platforms to utilize to one's advantage that are even worldwide. all in the disposal of all their employees to use to encourage their own creativity within.
To take us into a closer look of the 21st Century Fox's organizational motivation is Michael Hand.
All right, thanks guys. So let's talk a little bit about organizational motivation. We saw a common trend in 21st Century Fox that it gives all their employees the responsibility to make their own decisions. I think a quote from what Joe had told us at one point was that they do not really like the wallflower type. And I think what he meant by that was more the people that kind of sit kind of off to the side and hope that nobody really sees them. That doesn't really work there. What they really like to see is an ability to kind of come out, take a risk on an idea, and be able to own up to it if it's not right. So as evidence for organizational motivation here that we were looking for, you're able to see that the 21st Century Fox is able to develop this motivation within employees, maybe not so much from a monetary value, but more of a personal responsibility sense. You're able to develop your career a lot faster than maybe your peers at another type of company that's similar to 21st Century Fox. And through this, they're able to kind of push creativity out faster through this responsibility, and you see a lot of successful results and their ability to stay relevant within the industry.
Audrey, can you tell us more about the management's practices and how they take care of their people? They probably have a huge role in influencing their people's intrinsic motivation, don't you think?
Thank you, Angelica and Marianne. From our research, we found that theory suggests that creativity and innovation are fostered by allowing a considerable degree of freedom and autonomy in the conduct of one's work. Well, let's talk about what 21st Century Fox is doing from their top management practices that allow this. One of the examples, as Marianne and Angelica already talked about, was how employees are allowed a $2 million budget for projects, right? So let's say if one of them gets denied or the project is greater than $2 million, what's really great about this company is employees are encouraged to keep going to the right person until someone says yes to get them into that executive meeting so that they can pursue their own project.
Up next, a closer look into the 21st Century Fox and the factors that drive its people's creativity.
Since the change of leadership with James and Lachlan Murdoch, they have shifted towards more collaborative work within the company and set up processes to ensure this collaboration. So what this entails is they've encouraged more face-to-face communication between employees and top management. Saying this, they do encourage employees to speak up and be open with their supervisor. So if an employee wants to be heard about moving up or has an idea, they need to speak up themselves. 21st Century Fox has set up a system where if you show that you have developed a particular skill set quickly, you can go to management and you can have the opportunity to move up within the company quickly as well. And they use a lot of creativity in structuring deals and how the use of different properties to advertise companies to potential clients. They also do this heavily within their consumer base. So 21st Century Fox is a company that's highly recognized and acknowledged for how well it targets their markets and how well and how strong they have that relationship with their consumer. As for creativity within the company, when just face to face with other employees, they don't really have a model for de-anchoring, as their mentality is if it's not broken, don't fix it. Overall, even though the company is very creative, as it is a media company that relies on their creativity, they purely measure success on a monetary basis. How 21st Century has been able to stay relevant within the industry is constantly adapting themselves to the market and constantly asking what their consumers want and being able to deliver that despite disruptive technology.
And this is Angelica Ignacio, your news reporter for today, signing off.
Thank you, Angelica. On behalf of Ad Victoriam, we wish you a happy holidays and thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Marianne Shamoon. Happy holidays.